Hello, my name's Gary Ford, Managing Director of Tiger Hobbies Limited, UK hobby importers and distributors. In the last series, we talked about the battle for the Scheldt Estuary and the importance of Antwerp for the Allies to be assaulting Germany. Now, the Operation Market Garden, Montgomery's plan to get to Arnhem, delayed British and Commonwealth and Canadians from assaulting the Scheldt and resulted in the Allies, Americans as well, being deficient of some 2.5 million tonnes of stores for the coming assault into Germany. Now, in the video, I also mentioned the German 15th Army. Now, I did hint that this army had escaped. I'm going to cover this in a little bit more detail now, because unfortunately, with that army escaping, it would result in that army fighting the US Army in some of the coming battles that we're going to talk about in this video. From the 6th or 7th of September 1944 to the 21st of September 1944, the Germans came up with a plan to evacuate the 15th Army from south of the Scheldt Estuary, leaving the 64th Division to hold the Allies up later. Now, starting at night, using lighter vessels, small kind of coastal vessels, plus requisitioned Dutch ferries and large motorised barges and other vessels enabling vehicles to be moved, they started to move first one by one, a few troops, a few vehicles. And generally the Allies were not bothering them. The Allies had not gone further north from Antwerp to shut their escape route at South Beveland or west towards the Scheldt. So the Germans were quite happily evacuating this army. On the 17th of September, the Germans got a little bit of luck. The Allies threw everything to Operation Market Garden. All their focus was on Operation Market Garden and getting to Arnhem. Therefore, the Germans were now free to move the rest of this army. And by the 21st of September, they'd evacuated everything, moving it across from the port of Breskens to the port of Flushing, onto the railway system, through Walcheren, across the slowdown where the Canadians would fight tenaciously later on, and across the railway system across South Beveland, out into the Dutch mainland, and behind the West Wall back into Germany. So rather than keep the 15th Army bottled up or surrendered, it was free now to combat the US Army on the West Wall, or the Siegfried Line as the Americans would call it. And this brings us to this new video and a series of videos about the United States Army in Europe from the end of August 1944 to the end of January 1945 and the end of the Battle of the Bulge. I will split this into two parts. The first part will be looking at the US Army building up for World War II, going from a small army of about 180,000 personnel to, by 1945, over 11 million men and women in uniform. This was an incredible achievement. Then we shall go back to the US Army operations from the end of August 1944, very similar to the last video with the Canadians and the British, to again the end of January 1945, ending it in the Battle of the Bulge. Now, we and the Canadians, the British and the Canadians, had a bit of a tough time north in the Scheldt, lost somewhat 20,000 casualties. But unfortunately, the US Army further south, in Aachen and the Hurtgen Forest and the Ardennes and the Battle of the Bulge, would have a much tougher time. It would be a true American horror story.